What's good, people? This is episode 120. I'm Jason DeVilliers. That woman over there, that's Kelly Reeves. It's right there. The episode starts. You can tell I'm taking my own show today, right now. All right, people, you have asked, and now you shall receive. Because for me, I've got to give the people what they want. Kelly Reeves. What's up?
What's Gucci, my friend? How we doing?
So, are you like going from practice to practice today?
No, just doing workouts right now. So, yeah, that's why I'm in this like athletic gear, but just finished a workout. Yeah, happy to be here.
Cool. Do you have practice after this?
No, I have coaching. Hopefully if the rain doesn't keep up, but we'll see. But not really doing too much practice in the sand right now because it's off season. And then when January comes around, that's when we'll probably go more in the sand, kind of regroup and kind of plan for the upcoming season.
Yeah, definitely. Take care of things that we affectionately refer to as controllables, right?
Yeah.
Like your off season, your time in the weight room, just running your health, your diet and nutrition. John and I had a little debate on taking care of your side of the net, and I didn't really know what he meant. But when he made that emphasis, I'm like, you didn't tell me that was, you got me. You didn't tell me what that was about, you know?
Right.
Because for me, I'm like, look, taking care of your side of the net helps you beat the teams you're better than and lose to the teams that are better than you. What? Yeah, but he wasn't talking about on-court controllables. Like me, like I'm coaching juniors right now, and you coach a little bit of juniors here and there too, right?
Yeah.
So we serve, right? 100% control, right?
Yeah.
In system setting, right? You get a good pass, the other team can't make you set poorly. That's a controllable. Down ball, free ball, there are levels to that.
Right,
70-20, 80-10, whatever.
Yeah.
Or 80-20, 90-10. Indoor, right? Starting at the right spot, base 1 to base 2, right? Nobody can make you not play that spot. So,
Right.
But John, and I guess this is where my question is, because they ain't come here to watch me talk, all right? Give me an example of some things you consider have a heightened emphasis as far as controllables are concerned. I know it's a whole slew of things, and I know all of those count because all of them together don't exist unless it's complete. But
Right.
give me something that you consider a heightened emphasis on controllables.
I mean, as far from like a skill standpoint, I think serving one is very important. I mean, that's the one thing we can control. I think it's a good way that we can get teams out of system, and you can be a threat from the service line. Case in point, April Ross, who's the best server in the world, although Betsy Flint's sneaking up there too.
Drakaris.
Betsy Flint, she's a sniper of a serve, so I think that's something that you can control completely. And then just like from the technical standpoint, like you can always control your skills. However, it is situational depending on what conditions you're in out there. So if you can, solidify a good base with your technique, whatever skill that is, can you maintain that consistent, touch on the ball, or how you go into a certain skill, whether it's passing, setting, transition setting, blocking, pulling. So just kind of like controlling those, the base work.
Right.
And then I think another thing too to add on that is kind of more of just your, on-court demeanor, your body language, and how you are as a teammate, and can you be consistent with that, every practice, every match, every tournament, and then depending on if you're with a partner, can you do that day in and day out, or if you're switching around, can you be your consistent best self? So I think that's something that I've been working on a little bit.
Okay.
Just as far as like being your best self day in and day out. And that's hard to do.
It is. It's not,
it's not easy.
Because sometimes you can't help how you feel. Being a prisoner of the moment is, there's no elite athlete exception to that.
Right.
Right? You right? You're good though. You could be the statue at a staring contest. You're I don't know if this is an improvement thing or something you've been struggling with, but my eye test says that you conduct yourself like if a play goes well or bad or poorly, It's exactly what you thought was going to happen. And I think that's great.
To an extent, I think sometimes in the past I would always find myself dwelling on certain plays that like I needed to get rid of quicker. But I feel like that's just kind of being the competitive, stubborn athlete in me because I want to be perfect, but I can't chase perfection. I feel like I've changed my mindset of, can I be consistent on all levels? And if there's an opportunity, how can I make that fix? So I've been kind of working on that a little bit, and I was not great at it. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I feel like that's kind of something that I want to work on going into this next season, of just being a little more consistent there versus not being so up and down with it, being more level-headed and managing the good plays, the bad plays, the ugly ones, and just being like super even-keeled. That's hard to do because sometimes your emotions get the best of you. And I play with a lot of emotion, and sometimes that's a lot of energy. Those that know me and watch me play, I kind of want to just make it more just kind of even-keeled.
So in other words, you want to make sure your big waves don't crash.
Yeah.
That's what we call that. Big waves crash.
I like that.
I played overseas, and they say for every 5 points we got emotionally high, we're probably going to give up nine on the low. So, and the beach guys, some of my beach friends call it ebbs and flows. Just keep your waves small. They don't crash.
Nice.
And but at the same time, if there's something where that galvanizes you and your partner and brings you to the dance, it's like it is this constant battle where you want to keep as much of that as you can, right?
Right.
Yeah. Look at Fallon Moana.
Yeah,
she's a unicorn.
She plays, I feel, just the way, she's so herself. And I feel like that attests to something. That's where you want to be. That's where I think you play your best, is when you're your best version of yourself.
Right.
So can you tap into that every practice, every tournament, every match? When you go back to back, 3-set matches, can you just continue to do that every day, every point? And that's hard to do. Sometimes we get carried away with the excess noise or whatever that's outside. But
I feel more comfortable using her as you as an example over her because she is what we athletes call a unicorn. There are very few people that go high and stay high. And for that kind of person, we need to take them to the lab, right? We need to examine them, get the scalp tool, you know what I'm saying? You do the operation, I'll stand behind you and start handing you tools and shit.
Yeah.
So when it comes to her, I always say pick another example because I like watching her because you rarely see, and they do exist. They're just unicorns. You rarely see someone ride this, start high, balls out, the entire match from beginning to end. That's
yeah.
And everyone's still waiting for her to get tired at the end of a match because I know there are a lot of concerns. People think she's not getting good partners because they're worried about her conditioning. But show me one match where she lost because she got tired at the end. You can't. And I'm not being this positive. I'm honest. I'm not gonna lie for its own sake. I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
And I mean that about her. So, but I like what you said because I didn't know that was something. I knew that was something that kind of reared its head when you played with Alli. You were playing in Manhattan Beach with Alli, 2016.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Do we call it a meltdown? Is that a nice? That's not a nice thing to say, but was it kind of a team meltdown? And did that come from just mediating and navigating emotions?
I think it was just. That was my first year on tour. I didn't really know what I was doing. I'll be honest there. I was very new. Came straight from indoor, and I think just looking back, I definitely let my emotions get the best of me. But I feel like since then I've grown, matured, and understood what emotions are, and I can kind of handle that a little bit better. But I'm very grateful to play with Alli. If she's listening, what's up, girl? But yeah, I'm very grateful for that experience. And you just kind of learn from those little tidbits or those little experiences. And can you just, one, not repeat it and just learn from that whatever experience and then grow and continue to build. So I kind of use those moments to reflect and try and build, although when you're in the moment sometimes it's hard to see. So when you step away and kind of reflect months down, years down, it's oh, I did this in that situation, I don't want to do that again.
Right.
So
yeah,
very blessed there.
Yeah, she was staying at my house, her and Kevin,
Oh.
and it was kind of a tournament that she really wanted so badly. Like Kevin was like, Jason, can you come downstairs and give Alli a hug? She's she's a wreck right now. But it just came from her wanting it. Not that she doesn't think about her. She's not a selfish person.
Right.
She didn't want it badly for her. She wanted it badly for the two of you. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that was kind of like her last year. And I think she played with Urango a little bit at the end. And then she showed her face in Hermosa Beach a couple of times. And now she's the head coach at UC Davis. But I wanted to share that with you. And it's out of my character to share people's private stuff like that, because no one will fucking talk to me or whatever. But I mean, I'm supposed to be like a ship that doesn't reach a port. But that story bears repeating, because she loves you and she respects you, and it's important that you know that.
Oh,
okay?
I'm very grateful for her. I mean, that was my first year on the tour, so
all right.
It was good. We did some good stuff.
Don't you start crying.
Tear. Okay. No, we're good. We're good.
Come here. I'm playing. You can cry if you want. These days, I mean, because of COVID, man, I'm crying. I find myself crying for no reason. My girl's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Oh no." She's like,
I'm just crying.
Man up. I'm like, when you tell a kid stop crying, what do? They go,
yeah, they hold it in. Like,
and then you're like, "I said stop crying." It's like,
yeah.
So, I'm gonna jump back and forth. I promise I won't drive us both off the cliff. Let's talk about indoor volleyball. Let's talk about your career at UCLA.
Okay.
UCLA, you were an outside hitter.
I was a little bit of everything. I played outside, I played right side, and I played DS/libero.
Okay.
Interchangeable.
What years was that?
So I played 2010 to 2013 were the seasons. So,
okay.
And then I didn't get my degree till 2015.
Till 2015.
Yeah.
And you guys won a chip.
We won a chip 2011, 10 years ago. It's coming up December 17th.
You know why? I mean, it's crazy because before I moved here, I was a pure indoor player. And I followed indoor volleyball avidly. And then the last 6 years, since I moved here, I knew how to play beach. I mean, Central Park volleyball, it's not like wind and sun, but indoor players can use that to cross-train because we have the muscle memory of the indoor approach.
Right.
So we can, it's not like a beach player trying to use it for indoor. It's an indoor player, right? Strengthens your legs and then you come back because you already have the technique. You don't forget that.
Right.
So I knew how to play, but I was like, wait a second. I know that girl. When I saw you playing with Alli, I'm like, I know that girl. She won a chip. And Aaron Wexler, who was the assistant coach, I believe, on that staff, right?
I think he was either assistant or volunteer. I can't remember at the time. It was so long ago.
And I know he was a libero too. And I think he won a chip himself as a libero in the early 2000s. I think he played after Spara and/or July. Those guys won in '98 or whatever. And I think BYU won '99 and 2001. And since then, it's been a year for men's volleyball. It's been the year of the repeat champion, or the decade of the repeat champion, right? It's Hawaii won one, but before that, Long Beach State were repeat champs. Ohio State was repeat champs. Loyola Chicago,
right,
beating Division II no less, Lewis no less, and then UC Irvine. So all repeat champs, and then Ohio State again. So MIVA and Big West have split the difference, making the pack look incredibly bad. So I ran into Aaron Wexler this morning at the coffee shop, and I'm actually going to try to call him. I want to see if he picks up, because he said ask her about her NCAA championship, and he said he would pick up. So I want to see if we can get him.
Jason,
what's up, man?
What's up, man?
Say what's up, Kelly.
What up, Wex?
What's up?
What's
going on?
Just doing a podcast with your boy.
I
like it.
So we talked a little bit about beach, and you know me, I steer. You've been on the podcast. I steer everybody off and back on the cliff. I feel like we're in the Mulholland Drive, for Christ's sake. So we're talking about her college season and her indoor season, and we're talking about that championship run. So Wex, since I got you on, and since you got your homies sitting here, give me one or two things that you liked about what you did that season, if you can reach back that far.
Just constant fire all the time, no matter what. Unconditional fire, and it kind of showed up at the right time, but it was the consistent just display of that just made that a special thing, and it made it relatable, and it was inspiring for anybody, because we can all try to get that fire, but to keep it as consistent as she did, that's awesome. That's what I remember.
Oh, thanks, Wax. That's so nice. I'm giving you a hug through the phone. I don't know if you can feel it. A little Gucci hug there.
But I want to say one more thing about that, because it's not just about consistent fire. It's like consistent focused fire, right? Because we can all have fire, but Reeves was able to be focused at the same time with that fire, and not let the fire kind of like take her focus somewhere else.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yeah. I call it control chaos. If you want to know what's going on in my mind to define like my volleyball career, I want you to look at Chinese 9-man and just look at like 5 blockers, 4 back row defenders.
Oh my God.
This guy's running the 1. This one's running the 30. This one's running the go. This one's running the red. And Aaron, I think you saw a little bit of it, right? I call it control chaos.
Yeah, for sure.
Since I got you on the line, tell us. I want to plug in your most recent episode. Tell me your most recent guest before you get off the phone, and how people can, get on board and listen or watch that.
I appreciate that. No, I had this addiction specialist come on my podcast, and he specifically works with athletes. And it's one of those topics that's really kind of difficult to discuss, but I just wanted to get it out there. I want to get the information out there because many athletes struggle with alcoholism or addiction, or even just painkillers or other drugs. And I think it's really valuable to get another perspective on how to approach that topic. I think it's becoming less taboo. I think people are willing to talk about it and discuss it more. And that's really what it takes. It takes a discussion. So yeah, it was Dr. Rob Kelly. He was on my podcast, which can be found at Within the Game podcast on Instagram. And I appreciate it, but yeah, don't take too much light away from Kelly, because she's the best.
You lucky we are friends. We sitting here calling you up on the phone, plugging your episode in. Bears repeating. And the reason why I brought that up is because when we hang up, I wanted to talk to Kelly about certain things like that. I wanted to talk about neurological addiction versus discipline and this and that. So thanks, Aaron. We're out.
I really appreciate it. Much love, Kelly. Much love, JD.
Bye, Wax.
Peace. Yeah, so I know you haven't had personal experience with this, or I don't know that. I do know certain athletes have, and I've talked to someone privately. And Riley Salmon, Olympic gold medalist, was on my podcast. We talked for like 2 hours and 25 minutes about his addiction to opioids and alcoholism. Neither one of us are doctors. All we can do is just read as much as we can. Yeah. And then when we disseminate the information, only in the end for people to say you're not a doctor, but have you known athletes that kind of deal with those kind of things? I mean, I feel like I'm jumping off of just mental pressure to neurological addiction and back to mental pressure. But since Aaron was on the phone, that's a real thing.
I don't have that much experience with that topic. I mean, I know I didn't really know that was like actually a thing, but I feel like for me in my life, I just surround myself with people that, I mean, that's not really an issue, but for those that like are in that position, like you definitely should like obviously get help, see a professional, and it's not something to like overlook. But yeah, that's kind of I don't really know too much of that.
Yeah. Well, I think what I'm trying to get to is like when I grew up and someone was like addicted to drugs, my mind, and I guess that's how I was raised, my mind was trained to believe that these people lacked discipline and lacked willpower. And then you have to realize there's just something that goes beyond willpower. Right? Think about this. Like Josh Gordon from the NFL, right? I remember saying, and I watched Stephen A. Smith on First Take, and he said, you're telling me you were given a $10 million contract, and they told you all you have to do is stay off the weed. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of agree with him. I'm like, have you ever seen a joint that was worth $10 million? Oh, wow. Have you ever seen a joint that was worth $10 million? Rhetorical question, right? But then you have to think about it the other way, right? Like, if someone knows if they do it, dude, you're going to have to pee in the bottle, right? And someone knows you're doing that, and you do it anyway, I don't think that's a willpower thing. Or maybe sometimes it is. I just wanted your thoughts. Like, how much of that is just...
Well, I think it's like kind of a discipline too, and just like you have to understand like your body is your temple, and like what you put in, like you have to like be able to perform. So I think those that make that decision, like that's kind of on them. But I feel like it is a discipline that you have to like be, you know, aware of the decisions that you make. Like it could cost you in the end, like it could cost you a $10 million contract. So you have to understand like you do have a choice, and there are decisions that you need to make, and you have to understand like there could be consequences knowing what you decide to do to your body. So I feel like for me, I was lucky enough to be raised by a really good family, and like I never really got into that. I mean, I stayed up with my studies. I was very volleyball driven. Like that's all I wanted to do was eat, sleep, train. And I made sure I just wanted to take care of my body as best I can. And I'm still learning, you know, with nutrition, and, you know, my body is my temple, so to speak. So I want to fuel it with the right good stuff. Although it is Christmas time, so I've been loaded on the cookies. That's a different topic. But yeah, I just steered away from that from day one.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And we can get in and out of the subject matter as fast as we can, and I can ask you this. What does an in-season Kelly Reeves diet look like?
Ooh, in season. I would say it's like a lot of high protein, a lot of carbohydrates. I definitely eat more when I'm in season versus out of season. So like right now I'm kind of just like trying to like limit my portions a little bit more, because I'm not as, you know, in the sand 4 times a week. I'm just in the gym. I'm still doing a lot of protein, whether that's like, I love chicken, love salmon, protein diet.
That's repair. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say like to keep it short, I have bigger portions more so during season, because with the demand, and then off season, just smaller portions. And then I do
more times a day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little meals a day, or sometimes I'll like fast in the morning, not really eat breakfast, and then just like wait till after my workout. Kind of been flirting with that a little bit. But yeah, I'm not really putting my body through a lot of, I guess, physical training demands like in the sand right now. It's more just like mobility, strength, conditioning, kind of rewiring the body to get ready for next season. So yeah. So it's kind of trial and error, but I've always been clean eating. I love to cook. I love to make my own food. So it's always hard for me to go on trips and to eat out. I don't do it a lot. But I've learned this year, especially, that like I just go to the store and just kind of like make stuff in the hotel room, and it's just easier for me and better for me to perform.
Yeah. Can you appreciate how the difference between like your generation of athletes and the previous generation? I was going to say the previous two, but I'll go as far back as just the previous one, and how the athleticism is there, the skill set's there, but the diet, like the ability to take care of themselves, is infinitely different. We ate like fucking idiots I'm 51 for the people listening at home, right? I know I don't look it, right? I look like an ugly 35, right? I'm creeping on little girls. Hey, little girl. But no, but we ate terribly. I'm ex-military, and we're gonna talk about your thing in a minute. But
cool,
I'm
cool.
ex-military, and I played for the military community team. I tried out for the All-Army team, made that team. I got recruited by a club team, played in Germany for 2 years. And when I left the military, I blew up from a slim 199 to 204, because I'm wide shoulders, wide hips, so it's 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
I could be 199, look bony, right?
Yeah.
And blew up to as much as 268 pounds.
Whoa. What happened?
The workout was there, and the eating was the same. So when you're not training with the military anymore, you're not training with the volleyball team at night.
Yeah.
It just caught up to me, and for almost a decade, I was just huge, and I could still play. But then you get older, and then even if you're in shape, playing indoor, right? It's your knees, it's your back, it's your elbow.
Yeah.
You got a shoulder. Maybe they don't teach you how to land, or they teach you how to jump, right?
Right.
I don't remember who teaches you how to land, right? So. And I actually took on a trainer one day when I saw a doppelganger version of me on the train, and I was like, that's me. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I don't want to talk a lot, but I'll just tell you the story. I'm on a New York subway, right? And it's a 2-seater, right? And there's a guy like me, kind of has like my kinky hair, look close enough. He was like 350, right? And sitting in the 2-seater, you couldn't fit a second person in there, right? It's just those corner 2-seaters if you've ever been to AVP New York and rode a subway. And he has chicken McNuggets, he has French fries, and he's looking for a place to put the chicken McNuggets. And he looks at his stomach, and he puts it on his stomach, and he starts eating chicken McNuggets off of his stomach. And I was just like, whoa, that's me. Got scared. Started eating 5 times a day, smaller portions like you. Took a year. Got as low as 186. Didn't like it. Too light. Went to the Pottstown Rumble. A girl gave me a cute bump. I fell. So no, had to be, so I had to be heavier. So I like that. You do have a realization of your off season Kelly Reeves diet, your on season Kelly Reeves diet. Do you find yourself saving money doing it the way you're doing it as opposed to restaurants?
Yeah, I think eating out, it gets too expensive, especially now. It's like you go to a restaurant and it's like I could literally make this myself for like half the cost, and I can have it for 2 or 3 meals after that. So I kind of just taken an interest in cooking and kind of learning what foods I like, what helps me perform, what I'm allergic to. Certain things. But yeah, I've really enjoyed my time in the kitchen and kind of experimenting with new foods to help me perform, rest and recovery, and all that stuff. So it's been very eye-opening, a good learning experience for me. So I enjoy it.
Nice. I just submitted a poll. Who should you play with next year?
Oh,
I did like a poll, like Britt Howard,
B-How,
Cannon. Yeah. Oh man, did she have a good tournament, huh? FIVB with Sarah.
Yeah.
Great coming out party for just 2 girls that you knew that if you saw them play, do the things that they do well.
Yeah.
And how it matches up against the best players in the world. I knew at some point that was going to happen, and I knew they would get a couple of 1-offs or 2-offs. Sustainability, I guess, is the key, right? And
yeah.
That's where April Ross and Alex Kleinman have cracked the code. You know what I'm saying? Because there are athletes out there that are just as elite as them, but they crack the code. Also, you said April Ross is like one of the best servers in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said Betsy was too. Do you remember?
Yeah. Betsy's up there.
Yeah. I remember Manhattan
Don't
Beach.
count her out.
Manhattan Beach, they're down 20-18. I'm watching the living room with my wife. I actually literally ran to Manhattan Beach just to wish everybody good luck, and then I said, I prefer to watch it multiple cameras instead of like live. And 2018, I told my girl, I said she's gonna get 2 aces, and she got the 2 aces. She went straight Jakari's mode.
Yeah.
So for the people who want to be better passers, you are a passing machine. I call you the queen of the hold. Oh. That is this, leaving it out there like a dork. Coaches, you're internationally East Coast guys, we call it hard wall, padded wall.
Nice. So
because we're not trying to talk about science or some silly study, when at the end of the day, coaches, really, we're the scientists.
Right.
You understand biomechanics and this and that, and why. And you watch Tina Gordina be a goofy foot and defy biomechanics, and The Lion King and Phil. And that's why we don't lean on studies on its own. But basically, we say if you throw a ball against a padded wall, it might bounce back the same, or it might die. It might do something different. But if you throw it against a hard wall, it bounces back the exact same way with the same amount of pressure. And that's how I describe holding your platform. Oh. So, yak. For some of these young girls who want to be like Kelly Reeves, give them a subset of passing that you hold valuable. Is it the holds? Is it straight and simple? Is it one move to the ball? Go ahead.
I think for me, for passing, I've been doing it since I was like 12. I fell in love with that skill, I would say, first when I started playing volleyball. And then what I kind of just like teach my kids, it's just like having your platform out. And it's just kind of creating an angle, being comfortable to make an angle outside of your midline. Like, yes, midline, but it's okay to go outside on your right, outside on your left. And it's understanding to like tilt your shoulders to create that nice, easy platform. You see a lot of kids at the young levels, they're swinging their arms a bunch. I feel like for me, it's just been engraved with like, once you set your angle, you hold it and let the ball do its thing. So it's all about creating that angle. However, it's knowing what angle to do when the ball is being served at you or dug at you or hit at you. Excuse me. But yeah, I think holding your platform away from your body too is something that I also teach as well. You don't want to be super tight on your body. You want to be out in front and think to attack the serve, attack the ball. Don't let you attack it. Don't let it drive you. I mean, it's super simple, but you just have to do that like 10,000 reps over and over and over again. And I remember growing up for indoor, I would go in the gym and I would just pass buckets of balls, like how Kobe would just shoot, or any basketball player would shoot free throws. I would just pass to the bucket. Shout out to Wave Volleyball. They were, that was like where it all kind of started for me. But yeah, I mean, passing is something that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun for me.
Yeah, and for me, holding your platform, there's a reason why you watch a volleyball game and someone passes a ball low, and the hang time of the low pass is the same as if they passed higher. And I think I'm not sure the complete science behind it, but holding it has a lot to do with that.
Well, and it's also like your body position too. If your hips are behind the ball, or like it's all about like feet to ball first, and then late with your angle. However, when I say late with your angle, you have to be in the right position with your angle. You need to tilt forward towards the net. You want to be super upright, or you don't want to be out to the stands where mom and dad are sitting. But I think it's understanding kind of like the biomechanics of how your body should move to a serve, and kind of understanding that relationship. So like spacing is one, feet to ball, and then setting your angle and just keeping it, solid, calm.
Yeah.
No excess movement.
Facing it too.
Yeah, facing
Sometimes.
it. Yeah, I mean, for indoor, you want to face it to the target, and then beach, you want to pick your spot, whether it's like out in front or kind of more the middle of the court, and just know where that is and set your angle and just trust it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, for me, like facing is important because, like, I've always had this habit of just doing this. I'm facing forward and this and that. And what happens is, and you can see, the camera can see it, right? Both forearms are facing where they're like up. Now, I got mad skill, so it's a lot. For the most part, that goes to the target anyway. But what it does is it invites room for the ball to have a mind of its own.
Yeah.
What if? I mean, because me psychologically, I'm like, okay, the ball's like, F you, Jason, I want to do this today.
Right.
And I'm like, no, it's physical. Some things are mental. We just talked about mental, but that's physical. That's just about, like you said, doing it over and over and over again until it's second nature. So,
yeah. And
I'm really, oh my God, that's like the best answer of the podcast. See what happens when I shut up? Yeah.
You're good. Yeah. But no, to expand on that, I mean, it's doing it 10,000 reps, but it's doing it the right way. So if you don't know how to do the right way, you need to seek out coaches that understand the technique of it, which I've done, and I've kind of studied it, and I've just repped it out since forever. And that's kind of just my bread and butter. I mean, there are times where I'll get beat left and right, but I know that I can always lean on my passing to kind of keep me in the game, and that I just go back to like feet to ball.
Yeah.
Early angle, and just set early angle and then hold.
You got to come through to my practice on Saturday.
It's
I mean, for two reasons. One, I like the way you explain it. You explain that even a 13-year-old can understand it. And two, they're probably tired. They have to be tired of hearing the same guy.
I mean, I'm for those kids that I coach. I mean, I'm constantly saying it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But like my coaches have done that to me too. So it's just engraved in my head.
And it's worked for you.
Yeah.
Look at you. I mean, you're a fantastic player. And
oh, thank you.
It's weird because there's some people I look at them and I'm like, all right, that's probably as good as they're gonna get, And if I was in a bad mood today, I would just name names, but I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make you nervous. All right, I'm not going to do that.
Sounds good. All right, I prefer that. No name drops. Okay.
No, well, for me, no one feels disrespected because if it comes from me, they know it comes from an honest place, and they know I'm a USA guy. I want to see all of us do good. I want us to be so good that we bitch and complain that there should be a third team in the Olympics. Because when I heard someone say that, I was like, no, no. Say that to the Brazilians, right? Who got like 3 teams, 10 times better than those girls that you think deserve to be in on the outside looking in. Don't do that. So not that Jason today, because then nobody, I don't know. People are scared of honesty. And I don't even think I'm being douchey about it either. I'm not saying I'm attacking volleyball players with volleyball. Did I say anything about your mother? No. Did I say you should go die and live in a log cabin? No. So, for you, I will say this to your face. I am totally candid and honest when I say we haven't even scratched the best of Kelly Reeves yet. We've only seen the surface of this girl who's quasi-mastered the basic fundamental things where your game looks flawless and you're even teaching it. And we haven't even seen the best of you yet. This is who you are, young lady.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean,
I just said young lady like a old fart. Did I just say young lady? Okay, but well, you are.
Thank you.
But it's gonna be great, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited for this next year. I feel this year was kind of a big growth year for me, a little bit more off the court than on the court. So I'm excited to kind of get back in the sand, revisit some skills, kind of, fine-tune a couple things, and then be on my way and kind of get after and ready to compete this year.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I feel like there's a lot more left in the tank. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this year and see what happens.
I can't. Jeez. I think you speak for both of us on that. I co-sign your sentiment. Before I talk about Atlantic City or prequel to the tour, because I thought that was a very big tournament. I mean, you get 100K purse, people start showing up, right? Yeah. I want to go back, way back, and this might take some discipline for you to reach back with me, all right?
Okay.
And I ask all of my guests this question, and it'd be podcast malpractice if I didn't ask you. At what point, it might be your juniors, it might be your high school, it might be college. At what point did you leave a particular tournament or a match and left the match saying that this is probably what I'm going to do for a living? You come from a volleyball family.
Yes, very volleyball family.
So it's almost an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Ooh, this is deep. I think for me, it was probably my junior year. Was it my junior year of high school? Mm-hmm. My club volleyball team, Wave. I think 16. So 16s, I was like junior or sophomore. I can't remember the year, but I feel like that season of club volleyball was like, whoa, I fell in love with the sport. We were really good. The team that I was on, I still talk to all of my club teammates to this day. I think that was just like such a special team to be on. I mean, granted, we did win a lot, but I think what made it so special is like we loved to compete with each other and for each other. And I was like, oh, I want this forever. So it was such a cool experience to kind of go through that. And it was like probably the most fun I've ever had playing this sport. And I just wanted I wanted to hold on to that forever, that feeling of just like playing with your teammates, just going balls out on the weekend at the ASC. And just like, we were just ruthless and we played so relentless and we were just so competitive and we loved each other so much. I mean, we're still friends to this day, which has been over probably like 13 years now, which is crazy to think. But I feel like that time period of my life, volleyball was, I kind of knew this was what I wanted to do. Beach wasn't really in the focus. I always played that for fun. It was just like kind of a weekend, on the weekends, we would go down to Moonlight and play for fun. I didn't really think I could do it as a professional sport. I kind of got the taste for that more so collegiately after my first year of sand, which was 2013. So I was like, oh, this could be a thing. Granted, I always watched AVP growing up, but I didn't think, oh, that's going to be me. I kind of went the indoor route first. And then when I got to play in college for the Bruins in 2013, we got to do that for a spring. I was like, this could be something that I could do. And I just kind of fell in love with it, like a new love that I fell in love with volleyball with that. So then I kind of wrapped up my indoor in 2013 overseas, came home. I called Holly McPeak and I was like, hey, I want to play beach volleyball. What do I do? So I went out on the beach, did this EDP program, which was like elite development program. It doesn't exist anymore. So I would do that.
That was Holly, right?
Yeah, that was with Holly and
Yeah.
Barb, and I would do that 3 times a week, and then I would finish up school at UCLA, and then I got asked to play that year, but I was like super new, and I was like, I'm not ready to like play in an AVP. I'm still learning how to like pass and like figure out what side I like. So then I waited till 2016, and then I played with Alli. And then that was kind of the first year I kind of was exposed to beach volleyball, the professional AVP, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I'll never forget the first time I qualified and to get to the main draw. It was like one of those feelings like, whoa, I did something. It was like so cool to like see the result, I guess, of like putting in like a little bit of off season, not really knowing what I was doing at the time, granted, but it was kind of cool to see like, I made it to the big leagues, you know? And then, yeah, now here I am, still figuring it out.
You know what? I thought when I asked you this question, because when you started answering this question, you're talking about team this, team that, you know, or my team likes to compete. I'm like, this chick's dodging the question.
Oh, did I?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, you didn't. Because when you first started answering the question, I'm like, this is all interesting, and it really is, you know, because it's Kelly as a pup, right? And,
Yeah.
And your story is something so many volleyball players can relate to. You see a ball, your eyes get wide, and you realize you're walking to the court, but you don't realize you're running to the court because you're so into volleyball. You just left your parents behind. You didn't realize you're running, and we all had that feeling. So when you were talking about team thing and competing, I'm like, she's dodging. Not wittingly, but you know, but at the end, you really brought it at the end. So I guess my follow-up question is, it wasn't a particular tournament or whatever. It was just an accumulation, a gradual build-up of.
Yeah, I think for me, there's not like one match that like defined my moment. I think it's just like over time, like I've had such a big passion for the sport. But I mean, if you want more of a concrete, I guess, match or tournament, I would say it was Manhattan Beach 2019 when I was playing with Terese Cannon. That was my best finish. Took a third.
Yep.
And some of the teams, I'll never forget playing April and Alex on Stadium Court. I didn't realize how packed the stadium was because I was just so mentally just like in it. I didn't realize like, whoa, this was like kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, we took them to 3. We almost beat them, but I kind of realized like, all right, maybe this is something that I can actually do and like see myself, you know, being in this environment or the stadium more often than not. So that is somewhere that I would like to get back to moving forward. But yeah, I think that was kind of a special tournament for me as far as the beach aspect of it, Manhattan Beach 2019.
Like Kelly Reeves moment.
Yeah, that was my big moment. So I want to get back to that moment as best I can. So
I was a busy guy that year, man.
Yeah, that was a good year.
I was a busy guy. I was coaching my friend. I have a friend, Rob McLean, who's actually working with Market Betterwood Beach, but he's a brilliant mind. And for someone his age, like coaching and what he's doing is way beyond his years. And he was playing with Rob DiAurora. And they'd lost to Baranek and Kalinsky. If you remember, Baranek and Kalinsky made the semifinals that year from the qualifier.
Right.
So I was coaching them. I was coaching Earl, Schultz, and Jake, of course, but they dropped me because Arturo was there, and they were part of the P1440 program. So I'm like, cool. And I was also coaching Rafu. So it's crazy because Eric and Bill had to see my face 3 times in a row. 3rd round, last round, and 1st round. So, but Eric, the reason why I even brought those 2 up is because Eric was, when you telling this story and just like the nostalgia in Manhattan Beach, and the further you get, it's like the more people are there at the end, and then they start cheering you or they boo you or whatever, but you feel this, I don't know, your jump feels 2 inches higher. You just feel stronger. You're like, I'm not tired. It's the second set, you know what I'm saying? I'm not tired.
Right. I feel like Manhattan, I mean, it's like the Wimbledon of our sport. I mean, everyone plays their best and everyone wants their name on the pier. So I think that year especially, I don't know, I kind of just went to a different place, and I just made it known, like, I want to just ball out. I just want to have fun, and like, we're going to go for it and see what happens. And we ended up taking a third, so that was pretty cool.
It is a tournament where the people who grew up here are more have better results. I mean, it is everyone in every region playing their best, but at the end of the day, like, watching Kristen Nuss-and-Cloth play Alex and April in Manhattan Beach and watch them in Chicago. Chicago seemed more like of a neutral ground. Like, who's just fucking better? You know, let's say you're in Japan, let's say you're in Doha, let's say you're in Zamunda, right? Eddie Murphy reference. To me, that was more of an honest match than watching them get barbecued that first set in Manhattan Beach, Nuss-and-Cloth. It's deep sand. You know what I'm saying? The home team. The only team regionally is like Phil and Nick. And Phil and Nick had to move out here to make that happen. So I do agree with you. It is the Wimbledon and it is everybody playing their best. But I don't know if you've noticed, it is the teams who live around here. I remember Hochevar and Day.
Yeah.
They said, we just want to win the 3 California tournaments. They won Hermosa Beach, they won Manhattan Beach, they won Huntington Beach.
That's right.
San Francisco didn't count to them. And I'm like, San Francisco's California too. It's like,
it's NorCal. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Not the same, right, to the SoCal girl.
Yeah.
So is Terese someone you're going to want to play with or going to play with?
No, I think we kind of parted ways earlier this year. We just kind of had different agendas. Nothing bad happened.
No.
I mean, we're great.
No,
Terese is one good friend of mine. But yeah, I'm kind of figuring things out yet. I haven't really thought about who I will play with next. Going into 2022. So I'll kind of start that process leading into the new year. So we'll see. I've been just kind of taking time right now to upkeep the body and then playing a little bit, but I'm kind of focusing more on myself right now to kind of get ready for 2022. And
yeah, you're controllable.
I'm controlling what I can control, and that's me. I got to take care of myself first, and then eventually after the new year, I'll kind of, start the process of who I want to play with or who wants to play with me. I don't know. So we'll see.
You were doing a military thing the last couple of weeks. I remember because you were like, I want to come on a podcast, but I'm not saying no. I got to do something, and just chill.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Was Ty Loomis involved in this too? Because I remember he did that last year.
No, Ty Loomis wasn't there. So it was Jen Snyder, Corinne Quiggle, me, and then Jace Pardon. We work with this guy named Brian Lee. It's called Pro Sports MVP. So it's just like an entertainment stuff business. Okay. And we got to go out there. I can't say too much, but we went out there just kind of run the troops through some clinics, which was a really cool experience for me. And I learned a lot. And it was just super cool to bring kind of a little bit of, USA to them, or even like beach volleyball, and to see beach volleyball 7,000 miles away was crazy. And the connections that we made, it was just insane. We met someone from Redondo. It was a really good experience. I'm so happy I did it, and it's just awesome to see beach volleyball all over the world.
Yeah,
in places you wouldn't imagine. And just the troops were just the best people ever, like super gracious, great, positive, just positive. Super positive. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, I remember Ty Loomis did it last year. He was talking about the same thing.
Yeah. So I mean, it was an experience of a lifetime for sure, and I had a blast for 2 weeks. So I'm still a little jet lagged, but I'm so happy I did it. I would love to do it again. So I mean.
So you said you met someone out there from Redondo?
Yeah, his name was Colby. I didn't get his last name, but he knew Eric Baranek, so
okay.
He knew a volleyball guy. So I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. They kind of like follow.
I'm a little gay for Baranek. I like him. Yeah.
We love Eric. He's a good dude.
But I mean, yeah, and I don't mean to make this about me again, but for me, something you may not know about me is I'm more of a purist because I've been, in the game for 30 years, so I don't follow a particular player. With that being said, I do have my exceptions, and one of them is Eric Baranek. The other one is for American, it's Trevor Crabb. Trevor Crabb, Eric Baranek, and for girls, it's Chrissy Jones. I just think she's so classy and she's so mysterious. Like her quietness and her competitiveness. And had Todd on the podcast, and we spent like 20 minutes talking about Chrissy Jones. I'm a fan.
Oh, cool.
And the other girls are Nuss and Cloth. you know, who whatever. But I don't know. I might be down with Team Reeves.
Oh,
you know,
get on the Gucci train, sir.
the Gucci train.
Yeah.
Gotta have Ty on the podcast there. I mean, the JFK, this thing came out on Showtime. JFK, I forget what it was called, Revisited or something like that, when documents were allowed to be released as of 2005, as of 1990 something, and as of 2020. So it's like the more data you're collecting on this, the more you know what's painfully obvious, right?
Yeah.
It's not something someone wants to talk about, because back then, when a bunch of people died, they don't want to hear any theory as to what really happened. They're just like, I can't believe you're talking about this when he died. And I'm like, and somehow they make this illogical connection where that's one has something to do with the other. And Ty, there's not a better human being I could stick my head down a rabbit hole with.
He's great. I'll never forget meeting him for the first time. He's just like a ball of light. Like, he's just a ball of energy. Love his light.
Yeah.
He's cool. What up, Ty?
Yeah. But Ty brings up something important to that, and I'll close the door on JFK. Sometimes you're put in this particular category. When someone doesn't want to talk about it, you're put in a particular category where you're like a nut. Like, there's a group of people that didn't think Oswald acted alone, but they don't know who did it, right? And there's a group of people that think the CIA, it's the Illuminati, it's Jodie Foster's dog. You know what I'm saying? But there's a very human category that's like, something doesn't smell right. And me, ex-military, the only thing that generated my interest is I'm an expert with the M16. Look at that plaque behind you. Where is it? See those badges up there?
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, that badge. Those badges meant I shot out of a possible 40 targets. I shot my last 4 times I qualified was 39 out of 40, 39 on my last time, 40 out of 40. 3 of those targets are from 300 meters out.
Wow.
So however that math works out. So when I see someone shoot at a moving target, you know what I'm saying, and make that shot, I'm not gonna draw conclusions, but you can't say I can't be curious.
Yeah, dang.
I can't be curious, you know. Pretty cool wall. Do you see my degree up there too? That's my well.
That's a good looking wall you got up there.
Yeah. Well
done.
Yeah, I'd love to see what your trophy room looks like. So let me ask you something. You win a whole bunch of trophies in juniors, and you win these awards, and you have these pictures. At what point do you consolidate? Do you just take, or have you consolidated? Because for me, I'm at 51, and when I moved to New York, from New York to here, you pick the ones that have a story to tell. Mm-hmm. Like, look over, see that over there? That's the picture up there. That's a story to tell. I just remember that it was like 16 up, and then someone power jinked a ball that looked like a carry, and the Athletic only won. So for you. You have a lot. Look, people look at your BVB.info page. They know you get around, okay? You get around.
There's a little bit on there. I mean...
And and I was going to say, that's only the little bit.
Yeah, well, I feel like my juniors, like going through, obviously, high school club, the only thing I've kept is when we won, I think when I was 16 or 2008, when we won the club division, the gold for the Open. And then everything else, I'll be honest, I've thrown away because I had to move up here. I'm just trying to, like, you know, not be a hoarder of all that stuff. I mean, it's always nice to kind of go down memory lane, but...
That's what parents are for.
Yeah, I mean, they have a little bit, but the only things I've really held on to was the club national championship, the Natty in 2011 with the UCLA Bruins. And then...
Did you get a ring with that too?
Oh, I got a ring. It's not super bedazzled, but it's small and cute. So I have that. And then, like, I saved a couple of the net, the shirt, and the hat from what we have. It's very musty and old. So, and then from the AVP stuff, I do save all the player badges. So in any tournament that I play in, I save the player badge. So I have a lot. Eventually, I'll probably throw them away. Yeah, you got a couple up there. So it's kind of cool to see the tournaments you've played in, the places you've been. And then I have my FIVB, one of my FIVB medals from Cambodia when I played with Terese.
That was the second, right?
That was my first ever FIVB medal.
Yeah.
And then I did all the Norseca.
Who'd you finish second with?
I didn't. That's the only time I've medaled on the FIVB.
Oh, okay.
And then I have my gold medal to the ANOC, our 4-man crew.
Okay.
So shout out to the Doha crew, Carissa Cook, Katie Spieler, Gina Urango, Emily Hartong, Alli Wheeler. So that was a really cool experience. I don't know if that'll ever happen again, but I'm definitely keeping that one for a while.
No doubt.
But yeah, I kind of just downsize a little bit and kind of keep the ones that are like kind of important to me in my lifetime, and maybe one day show a couple people here and there if I have kids down the road, but I don't need all the other stuff. It's just kind of clutter.
Great. Let me show people the wall behind us right there.
Yeah, you got a good looking wall there.
Yeah, this wall was only supposed to be California stuff.
Oh.
So I told myself that one wall was just going to be entirely dedicated to the stuff I do out here. And some of it's awards and some of it's just pictures. That picture behind us, that was my first, that was a 16s group that I coached. They were 41st in California, and then when we got to nationals, we got as high as 5th in the country.
It's pretty good.
Duncan Avery's kids out of Redondo, Evolution.
Got it.
That's what they're called. So,
Cool.
So that first one, boom, that's it. John Mayer, of course. John Mayer gave me my opportunity. I was the director of beach volleyball operations at LMU.
Oh.
And when we got that team, they were like 6-13, and when I left, they were like 21-9, and
Yeah,
they won the WCCs, and he should have gotten Coach of the Year this year. I mean, 31 wins. In that beach
impressive.
program. You beat UCLA and like LSU the same day, like your first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And you live in a region where you get all your recruits stolen by Stein and Dane, right? I mean,
I'm excited. So. I mean, I'm excited for the beach season, the collegiate season. I think LMU, that's a good program. They got some good coaches. John Mayer, Betsy Flint. I don't know who their volunteer is. Is it Andy Benish? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, they've been. I mean, I'm excited to see. It's exciting to see what John Mayer has done with that program.
Yeah.
He's
Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I know we live in a nice, happy universe where you say everyone's deserving, but for me, I say everyone's deserving when it's a close call. Mm-hmm. When it's a close call, then you say, there's so many worthy candidates, and then it wasn't his time. It wasn't close. 31 wins for a school, and against ranked opponents. I mean, anyway, I just get angry because he's such a nice guy. Mm-hmm. Do you know why he has a drama-free program at LMU? And you can't say drama-free in women's volleyball. It's they don't go together. They're not even kissing cousins. All right. Yeah. They're not strange bedfellows. They are nothing. Because the whole thought of disappointing that man will make you cry. The whole thought that you've done something that makes him look at you and says, I'm disappointed, you can't handle. So it's just like, I've never been part of a women's program where there was zero drama. Aaron Mansfield, he's the indoor coach. I'm sure there's plenty of drama on that team. That's just there. He's a tough love guy. UCLA, maybe not. What the hell happened in Long Beach with Matt Furbringer? I'm pretty sure. His departure probably had something to do with some locker room brawl. Maybe they lost to Bakersfield and got mad at each other, and then the AD had to clean house. I'm guessing, of course, because Furbringer. There's no other reason that you would ever want to get rid of someone so sweet and so knowledgeable and has more roots in the community, more roots than Alex Haley. Yeah. So, question. What's something you'd like to see juniors coaches do better to make sure this next generation of girls bringing up their rear after this generation does? Because your generation's good. The generation after you, Kraft, Maple, they look like they're doing, what I'm saying? They're headed the right direction. Women's volleyball, don't really have a whole lot of things to say. Men's, we could talk about at another podcast.
I think for me to see at the junior level right now, since I'm doing it a lot, I mean, it would be nice to kind of, technical wise, these kids need to be consistent, be up with their practices, their reps, their weightlifting and all that stuff. But it'd be kind of cool to kind of have more of a player coach relationship and kind of talk to them more about strategy. I don't think strategy is as talked about a lot at the junior level. It's just more be explosive, you got to rep out this, rep out that, which I think is great. But I think it'd be nice to kind of maybe treat them like mini adults and have those conversations, kind of explore areas like a strategy. What did you see? I mean, kind of develop maybe more mini game plans. I don't know how much that's happening at the junior level. I think it's a little harder because it's just there's so many kids and there's one coach to probably 10 kids, 12 kids on a court. That's really hard to do.
Yeah.
But to kind of have maybe mini workshops to get with a kid, kind of explain the strategic side of it. So when they get to college, they're kind of prepped and ready to go versus like day one, they're like, what is this? You know? So more from the strategic side, I think that would be kind of cool to kind of dive in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do that. I don't know. I guess I got smart girls, you know, and Jason Olive is building a beast at LA Volleyball Club, LAVBC. So what I don't love, and you don't notice, I don't know if you're coaching indoor juniors or beach, probably just beach, right?
Just beach for right now.
They have a league called the PVL Premier League. Basically, I'll just say it like this. Basically, being top 20 or top 25 in the SCVA isn't good enough. They have to make a league.
Oh, wow.
So the top 25 in the CVA are now playing in this league called the Premier League, and I think it's personally, I think the whole concept is disgusting. I think you being, since when is not being top 25 in the SCVA not enough, that you have to make this separate this separate thing where like these and I respect everyone on the general level, but the respect I have for some of these coaches who are putting in straight work and that are invested in the kids and their future versus some of these people who are just like recruiting the best players and playing glorified babysitter, is split down the middle. So, I mean, I just don't like, I think it's, I don't know, rubs me the wrong way. And it's not like because we can't have a team in there. We have a team in there. In fact, we had two teams, my team, I finished 37th out of the possible 36, and Jo, his Flow 1 team, we had two 13s. His Flow 1 were undefeated. Wow. I mean, 25, 8, 13. I mean, just so we definitely have a team in it, but I don't know. I mean, to me, I just want what I want. The reason why I asked this question because I'm hoping you could just. This isn't about me hearing my voice. This is about me saying something. I want you to say. It's gonna inspire you to say something else. I don't want to line up kids against the wall and say, you're too short, you can't do that. You're only going to be a middle, you're this and that. I will never look a 13-year-old or an 11-year-old or 12-year-old and tell them they can't do something. Yeah. They're not finished growing psychologically. They're not finished growing physically. Right? What I will do, and I'm going to give you the floor in a minute. Like if there's someone that wants to be an outside hitter and she's a little undersized, I will come up and I'll say, little girl, I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be hard. But if you want to do this, if this is what you really want, do this, do that, give it a shot, hit everyone with your best shot. And at the same time, always make sure you play another position. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it kind of, I agree with you. And I think with some of these junior athletes, I mean, they have to drive it. I mean, we can only say so much and give them all the tools, all the resources, and like literally hand them everything. But it's like, it's up to them. If like they express interest and if they want this, then go get it. Like anything is possible. But I can't tell you to go do it. And if you are miserable and you hate it, then you don't have to do this. But I think going back to like the strategy or even just like something that I'm trying to do is just like trying to like connect with my kids and kind of talk them through it. Like, is this something that you want to do? What are you trying to explore? Like maybe this is this new learning stage that I'm going through of like exploring and having these open conversations and having that connection. I think that's important for some of these kids because sometimes they get lost. I mean, I know I was lost for a moment, and it would have been nice to have, you know, a sounding board from a coach or, you know, someone else. But I think for these kids, I know they're under a lot of pressure, and the recruiting process is definitely a little more stressful now than what it was, I would say, probably 10 years ago when I was going through the process as well.
Right.
Given social media and all that stuff and Instagram. So these kids have to keep up with that. But I think they have to express the interest. And if they want it and they have this desire to go play D1, all right, let's go. I'll clock in, clock out. We're going to ride you to the very end and do whatever we can to get you there. However, if there's kids that are kind of like, oh, I want to go there for school and kind of play volleyball for more like for fun, that's totally fine too, as long as you know that. I feel like sometimes kids can kind of get lost with that. And it's kind of understanding like your role and where you are and being realistic. I think sometimes that's hard for people. And that's something like I've always said, it's like kind of know your role, do your job. know where
Yeah.
you stand. And
Bill
like,
Belichick.
obviously too, like, I mean, the sky's the limit. If you have dreams and you have goals and you want to go crush them, by all means, like, that's kind of your focus and your purpose or your why to wake up in the morning and you go chase it. But knowing that, like, that's not going to define you in the long run. You know, there are other things out there too. I think volleyball doesn't really define who and what you do. I mean, if you have a love and passion for it, do it to the best that you can.
Yeah.
And I think with these kids, I don't want them to kind of like get tunnel vision. I feel like I went there a little bit. But I chose that, and I kind of knew what I was doing. Like, not know what I was doing, but I kind of, that's where I wanted to
grasp.
go. Yeah, I kind of had a grasp. Like, volleyball was first over everything, and that was like kind of the priority. And I think with some of these kids is, if that's your priority, all right, then like every decision that you make, starting from now till when you show up there day one and double days in the preseason, like, you're prepared and ready to go. But then, I think it's just understanding like where your priorities are, and, you know, being realistic of like what schools that you can get into, and understanding that, you know, getting a good education is super important too.
Student before the student athlete.
Yeah, student athletes, we're all about that. But yeah, I think there are some bright kids out there too that kind of know what they want. And then just kind of like checking in, connecting. I think the connection thing is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Cool, man. I have
We're
three.
there.
I'm keeping track of time. I know you got to be somewhere by 2:30.
Oh, you're good.
I wanted to say a couple of things. One, I like what you said about the kids wanting it. To quote Mother Teresa, one must participate in one's own salvation.
Yeah.
All right. Two, really realizing if you get what you want, do you want what you get? All right. I don't like to talk about my girl too much, but she basically was interested in playing. She got into Harvard, and she was, she won 2 state championships at Parkersburg in West Virginia, so she was a baller. But to her credit, young enough but still mature enough to know that she doesn't want that to be her 12-month experience.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these kids who are listening, and we do have kids listening. We have kids listening to this now. All of my juniors listening to this.
Oh, cool.
If you get what you want, you got to want what you get. And sometimes it's unfair for us to say that because some kids don't figure that out until later.
Mm-hmm.
My whole life I thought I wanted to be in accounting until I took accounting.
Yeah, but you won't know until you do it. And that's the thing with like these kids. It's like, if you want to pursue volleyball, play D1, play professionally, get on the FIVB, go to the Olympics, you kind of, every decision, like, you're kind of like in the not the fast lane, but like you kind of know what you want, and you're going to be very driven and like not steer clear and get sidetracked with other things. However, there is a balance. It is very important to have a balance. You don't want to just be in one lane forever. You got to be able to see the whole picture. But if you also say you want to play volleyball and you're like miserable, then like, it's okay. You don't have to do it. You know, do what brings you joy. Do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And if it's volleyball, great. If it's indoor beach, amazing. If not, amazing. You know, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
So volleyball, I think volleyball, everyone has their own story with it, which is, I think, super unique. And I think that's kind of the exploration of what it brings to you. And that's kind of fun.
We have a unique thing in common. Like, if I interviewed for you for a job, let's say, I don't know, I'm starting a league and I wanted to talk to you, or even a coaching position.
Mm-hmm.
And if I asked you, what's one of your biggest strengths, you might say, I personalize my work. It doesn't leave when you leave the court. It doesn't leave when you leave the video room. You think about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You invest it and you love it and you want it. And if I asked you what your biggest weakness was, you will probably say, I personalize my work. It hurts too fucking much when I lose. It hurts too much sometimes just trying to put this in a box and then get dinner and then hit the reset button. How far am I?
You're pretty close.
Am I lukewarm?
I mean, ever since I was a kid, I became obsessed with volleyball. I did everything and anything. Like, all my decisions was around volleyball because I wanted to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now I wish I would have prioritized it maybe a little bit differently, because I became so obsessed with it that I missed out on a little, just social things a little bit more. I mean, nothing crazy, but I mean, it's always good to have that balance to kind of keep you sane, keep you hungry, making it you, I guess, love and appreciate the game a little bit more. I kind of went really like gnarly with it for a little bit, But I'm happy I did that because now I can kind of have that perspective and kind of see like, oh, like I can go things a little bit different. That's why I'm very excited about 2022. I kind of want to change things a little bit. But yeah, I hate losing. I'm a sore loser. But I use that and channel that as motivation to like go again.
At least you're humble in victory, man. Moving to California, there's a lot of freaking sore winners here too.
Yeah.
Man. People are like your friend until they win, and then they act like a jerk. I'm like, what the hell? I'm from Brooklyn. Usually it's the other way around. The grudge, happens, and at the end of the day, respect. This is a weird place. I'm glad you're humble in victory, though. Have you ever seen The Wire?
No.
All right. The Wire is basically Baltimore Police Department cracking drug rings. Drug dealers finding ways to evolve. Okay, beepers. They cloned our beepers. All right, we're going to use the payphone. All right, now we're going to send text. Look, let's see you track us now, right? Picture messages. So it's just every season the drug dealers are getting smarter and the cops are trying to find ways of whatever. Dominic West, actor.
Okay.
He is a Brit with a Baltimore accent, and he is like the biggest piece of shit. He cheats on his wife. He drinks. He's an alcoholic. He sells out his bosses all the time. He jumps the chain of command, but he does one thing really, really well. He's good police. All right? Now, his weakness, and this is leading to a question to you. His weakness is he takes down this case, and when a case is over, it's the next one. He takes us down, it's the next one, the next one. And finally, at the end of the season, one of his old partners says, the job can't save your ass. The job can't save your ass. You're taking down this case and that case, and you think that that's going to keep you going. But there's going to come a time at the end. This can't save your ass. Family, friends, whatever escapism, swimming with sharks, petting fucking sharks, climbing Kilimanjaro, sing karaoke. I do that twice a week. At what point did you realize that this sport can't save your ass?
I think, COVID a little bit because it kind of got taken away. And I realized that there are more important things than, the sport itself. I think family, friends, and I've made those connections this past year and a half, which I'm so happy I've done because I kind of isolated myself a little bit and just kind of got so obsessed or so absorbed with, volleyball and trying to like be this thing. And I kind of realized this year, stepping away from it all, that there are certain things like family, the friends, these experiences that I get to do now with like the military tour. I feel like that brings me a lot of joy, and it's like that balance, and it makes me appreciate why I play the sport versus being so like edgy with it. I kind of have found like a new appreciation for the sport and why I fell in love with it in the first place. I think it kind of got there. I think I just was super competitive with it, and I just wanted to just like, I was just very stubborn and very immature, and I had a lot of growth that I needed to do, and I kind of saw that this year with just the reflection and kind of taking a step back from it. So yeah, I think volleyball doesn't define me. It's something that I do and I love, and I feel like for me, just tapping into my best Gucci self, I feel like that's super important for me. That's a priority right now. That's current in my life. So that's kind of, yeah, I can say that happily and confidently because I think that's super important. If I can be my best self, be consistent, to everyone that I like meet across the board or wherever I'm at, I think that's super important. And then when I'm out on the court, like, man, it's balls to the wall. I'm gunning for you. It's war for me, but I have to learn to separate it. So I've been able to do that now, right, which is super cool.
Cool. I think that's actually a good answer to wrap up on. But I'm going to do a lightning round.
Oh gosh,
then
okay.
We're out. Come on. The best conditioned partner you played with, physical shape.
Ooh, the best conditioned?
She was like, they're all in good condition, Jason.
Oh. I don't know. I feel like every partner that I played with, I'm going to say everyone. Everyone's been very conditioned.
All right. Who's the most fun? Big smile on their face all the time. You just thought of one. Don't do that.
I know.
Right there. Just
it's like two. There's two.
Right,
Can I say two? Jen Fatma, throwback.
Yes.
And then B-How.
Yes.
B-How, we had a lot of fun.
I saw her singing karaoke a couple of months ago. Big, tall Amazon out there singing. She was all right, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most intense. Like John Mayer said, Jeff Nygaard. So that'd be an example, like intense.
Ooh, intense. I think Terese and we were pretty intense,
Right.
but a good intense.
Nice. The sport you like to watch besides volleyball? She's like, what? You should have saw your face. You said, wait, what?
I mean, I always watch volleyball. It's pretty sad. I mean, I watch basketball. I love watching basketball. Big Laker fan. I mean, yeah, any sport, really.
I like it. Yeah. All right. And lastly, do you do yoga?
I do. I do yoga every day. 20 minutes in the morning. That's my morning routine.
Yep. And that's something I desperately need to get back into. My major in college is theater, and we had to do 2 years of movement for actors. And my professor is published on lucid body movement. So a yoga-based class. So, and that was required. We had to do, and I'm like, wait, I felt great when I was in school. So, before we go, is there any plug or any website, anything you'd like people to, let's say I don't know, I'm a fan, I'm a Kelly Reeves fan, where can I find her? Is there a website? Is there an Instagram handle? How can I be down?
Okay. I'm pretty simple. I have Instagram and Facebook, but it's like Kelly Reeves 02.
Okay.
I keep it simple. Let me know if you guys want Typical Tuesdays back. I have not been doing that for the last 3 years, so I'm debating if I want to kickstart that in the new year, so let me know.
Takes discipline.
Or what they want to see on the Instagram as far as from the story standpoint. Taking notes from my audience. I have no idea what they want. So
I'm working on this top 5 thing. It's going to be great.
Oh.
Actually, I'm working on the top 5 things that should have gotten me California canceled. And I'll tell you that in private.
Sounds good.
It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. Just this kid from New York. You can picture, he's like, what a schmuck. Okay, all right, so listen. Kelly Reeves might love you, but me, I don't love any of you. In fact, I can't stand any of you, so I'm out of here, all right? So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPhone, for all of you on your Droid or iPad, or for all of you on the lunch line at Starbucks watching this, for all of you on your desktop who runs the world, old school people. For my homegirl, Kelly Reeves, this is episode 120 of the Option Podcast. I'm going to hit my music. Stay with me. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.